Hello everyone! Today we have a short but useful video on how to color frosting in bright colors. I'll explain how to choose the right food coloring and how not to ruin the frosting in the process. Every cake baker should know how to color frosting in bright shades, since this is a popular request from customers. I know firsthand that many bakers are afraid of this, so let's get started. Food coloring can be divided into two types, oil-based and water-based. It also comes in different consistencies, liquid, gel, and powder. Dry food coloring will always give you bright colors faster, since it contains a more concentrated pigment. We'll begin with ganache. Since ganache mainly consists of chocolate and butter, oil-based food coloring works perfectly with it. We prefer using dry food coloring since it's more commonly found in stores, offers a wider range of colors compared to oil-based gel food coloring, and doesn't alter the consistency of the frosting since it doesn't add extra moisture. Dry food coloring is more expensive than gel coloring, but it's very economical due to its strong pigmentation. For approximately 500 grams of ganache, you'll need about 1 teaspoon of dry food coloring. To help it dissolve better and faster in the ganache, blend the mixture with a blender. We rarely use dry water-based food coloring since we have noticed that the resulting color often doesn't meet our expectations. On the other hand, we never use dry food coloring to color cream cheese-based frostings because, as I mentioned before, dry food coloring dissolves perfectly when blended, which makes it an ideal coloring agent for ganache. However, in cream cheese frostings, it may not fully dissolve, and blending is not recommended since the cream cheese frosting may become runny. For coloring cream cheese frostings in bright colors, gel-based water-soluble food coloring is the perfect choice. They're easy to use, have good pigmentation, and blend easily into the mixture. Keep in mind that the consistency of gel coloring may vary depending on the manufacturer. Thicker gel coloring tends to be more pigmented and doesn't thin the frosting out as much. Add the coloring to the cream cheese-based frosting and mix it with a mixer. For an ideal result, all the necessary coloring should be added at once. Therefore, I don't recommend trying to achieve complex deep colors with cream cheese frostings. This works better with ganache. We usually color cream cheese frosting with just one color of food coloring. Don't overmix and work quickly. This is one of the key rules for achieving a saturated color when coloring cream cheese frosting. The longer you mix the frosting, the greater the chance that it will become runny and leak color due to the excess moisture. We also advise you not to use overly liquid gel food coloring, which can be found among some brands. Another important point is that water-based gel food coloring in oil-based frosting may take about 10 to 15 minutes to fully develop its final color. This is because water-based coloring disperses better in water. To fully disperse in fat, it needs time. We rarely use oil-based gel food coloring since it comes in a limited color palette. Now let's return to ganache. Ganache, at least the kind we make according to our own recipe, can be colored perfectly with any gel food coloring, both oil-based and water-based. However, achieving bright colors may be slightly more challenging and time-consuming compared to if you're working with dry food coloring. Let me remind you that using overly liquid gel food coloring may not only thin out the ganache, but also cause it to curdle. In addition, some ganache recipes presume a high fat content, and this kind of ganache may curdle with any water-based food coloring. That's why I love our ganache recipe. The ganache comes out super versatile and can be colored beautifully with any food coloring. You can find a lesson on our ganache recipe on our website. You'll find the link below the video. And now, the most important rule. Do not use titanium dioxide or any white colorings in the frosting when coloring it in bright colors. They will significantly dull the color intensity. No matter how much food coloring you add to the frosting, the color will remain pale. A tiny amount of titanium dioxide will eliminate a yellowish tint if you're going for a cool-toned frosting such as blue. However, you can also neutralize that yellow tint with some purple food coloring. I'll finish this video up with a small life hack. Many customers worry about whether the bright color will stain their mouth or tongue for long. Minimizing the amount of bright food coloring on the cake is quite easy. The cake is covered with colored frosting only during the final smoothing stage. We never fully cover the cake with colored frosting, even with pastel shades. Initially, we apply a crumb coat of uncolored frosting, followed by a thin layer of colored frosting. To make the colored layer as thin as possible, the crumb-coated cake should be well chilled, while the colored frosting should be at room temperature. This method is suitable for any type of frosting, even when you're not working with bright colors. This way you'll save money on food coloring and the customer will consume less of it, which is definitely a healthier option. However, it's important to remember that even a thin layer of bright frosting stains the mouth, especially blue and dark green shades. These are more difficult to wash off the tongue and lips. We always inform customers about this and rarely create bright cream coverings in these colors. If a customer insists on an indigo colored cake or any other highly pigmented shade, we try to convince them to go for a chocolate velvet covering made of chocolate and cocoa butter. The layer is so thin that it hardly stains the mouth. But we'll talk about chocolate velvet in our other videos. I'm glad if this information was useful for you. Please let us know if you learned something new from the video in the comments section. And visit our school's website where you'll find very useful and fun lessons with our tested and proven recipes. Thanks for watching the Cake Course channel. Bye bye!